Hey there, my name is Em. I collect cookbooks. Not anymore. Now I'm on a mission to cook from every single cookbook that I own before I'm allowed to buy a new one, which means it's gonna be a fun ride. Alright, so today's book is a request from a friend of mine who's very good at music. His profile will be on the link below, so check it out if you would like to listen to some cool, epic music from this cool, epic, really dorky game that we play together. So this friend of mine requested something to do with Chinese food or Korean food, and I don't have any Korean cookbooks, so I decided to do a Chinese thing, and he specifically said Mapo Tofu, which, I actually made it once and I hated it, but I decided to give it another go to see if I could make it better, and I think I managed. The book that I'm using this time around is Ken Home's classic Chinese recipes. I know it is very strange that I have a Chinese cookbook at all, but my knowledge of Chinese cuisine extends as far as steaming food and boiling food and steaming food, because my family is one that doesn't really like the horrors of deep frying. So, steamed food. We did a lot of that. And the older I grew, the more I realized that there's so much more to Chinese food than just steamed food. So, I picked up a few Chinese cookbooks. This is just one of them, and there are quite a few interesting things in here that I've never really heard of or never really cooked, and I definitely do would be interested in doing some of these properly at another time. There is this Peking duck and flour pancakes, and looks really, really good. But then again, who doesn't like Peking duck? We'll leave that for another time, however, because I was not in the mood to roast the whole duck today. In fact, what I wanted to do was something immensely lazy. So besides the aforementioned Mapo Tofu, I also made a soup. So I went with an egg flour tomato soup. It's really good. It's basically just tomatoes and eggs that you whisk up, and then you pour it into the soup, and then you whisk it, and then it breaks up and becomes flowers. So this is very educational for me, and I learned how to make pretty good Mapo Tofu, which I'm about to show you. So this soup starts with tomatoes. I used about 4 of them, and you can just quarter them. The recipe says to de-seed them, but really, who has time for that? Also, you're supposed to finely chop the garlic, but again, who has time for that? And besides, this is rustic. I like it this way. You want to make sure you've got a huge pot of water boiling. There's really no need to measure, just eyeball it. Put your tomatoes and ginger in, add some shaoxing wine. If you can't find that, you can use sherry. Add some soy sauce, and now you're going to crack 2 eggs against the table, as Jacques Pepin says, so the bacteria doesn't get in, you see. And after that, you're gonna want to put in a little splash of sesame oil. Whisk it up real nice and easy, and then bring it to your bubbling soup. Give it a stir and slowly dribble in the egg. So what this is going to do is create fine protein shreds of egg and basically create the flour. So we call this egg drop soup, and it doesn't really look very appetizing right now, but it's really tasty. And once it's done cooking, the egg will actually sink to the bottom. So you're gonna season to taste with salt, pepper. I actually added a little cube of chicken stock. You can use actual chicken stock, but you know, the cubes work as well. That's why once you add the stock, the cubes, you don't have to add as much salt. And I'm gonna plate it out, ladle it out, and I see the egg has sort of like sunk to the bottom, and it's like a nice little warm golden brown. Now you're gonna want to toast your Sichuan peppercorns. I have maybe about a tablespoon there, and you will know it's ready when it starts to smell really good. And then you're gonna remove it to your mortar and pestle and give it a good pounding until it becomes actual powder. Otherwise, you're gonna get, you know, little bits of pepper, and that's not really good to bite into. I'm using 3 cloves of garlic and 1 chili de-seeded. I removed the seeds because the chili bean paste that I will use later is quite spicy already. So finely mince that. Recipe says costly, but I'm pedantic. I like it fine. After that, you're gonna heat up some oil and saute ground pork or ground beef. It's up to you. Don't disturb your mince for a little while. Basically, you want it to crest so it doesn't become like a, so it doesn't, you know, it doesn't break up and become too mushy. Add your chili and your garlic, saute it again, and then add some chili bean paste. I'm just eyeballing it again, and then some black soy sauce, which is basically light soy sauce but very caramelly and dark. Season with sugar. I use brown sugar. Stir it around a bit. It's a very satisfying sizzle. Add more shaoxing wine or sherry. Give it a quick stir and then add some water. At this juncture, I began to realize that if I added the water, I would probably need to thicken it as well. And the recipe doesn't say, but you should thicken it a little with some cornstarch later. And for those of you who've always had trouble getting this kind of tofu out, this is how you do it. You gotta fill it with water so that it sort of like, you know, the water helps gravity do its work. And then you can just cut the tofu directly into the pot. It doesn't matter if it's too big or too small. Trust me, this is really soft tofu, and when you stir it, it will break up. Which is, you know, fine, because this is supposed to be like a home style kind of meal. It's still a little bit liquid at this point. So I added maybe 1 teaspoon of corn flour to about a little bit of water, mixed it up and poured it in, and that should thicken up your sauce nice and easy. And after that, you're going to add a little bit of sesame oil and your Sichuan pepper. See how like powdery that is? That's really good. It gives a nice sort of minty pepperiness to your dish without being overbearing. And you know what? It's really great. And now you're gonna want to garnish with a bit of spring onion. You can cut it however you want. Spring onion actually does add to the flavor, so don't leave it out. And that's about it, basically. I hope you enjoy. So, I really like that. I mean, lessons that I've learned from making Mapo Tofu this time around is basically you gotta toast the peppercorns, because the last time I made it, I didn't toast it, so it wasn't all dry and easy to break up. This time around, I toasted it and then I pounded it into like an actual powder, so I didn't end up with like bits of pepper that I would bite into as I was eating, and that really can ruin the experience. So that is quite possibly the most important thing I learned about Mapo Tofu. And in terms of the soup, you know what? It's easy. It's easy, simple, lazy Chinese food, which I think is very, very good. Anyway, thank you so much for your follows, for watching, for your requests and such. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a bit about Chinese cuisine. I mean, I learned a bit, so yeah, give this a like, give this channel a follow, and be sure to send in your requests if you have any, so I know what to cook next, because I am this close to going for a cocktail book, and that should be fun because you don't want to watch me mukbang with cocktails. Have a good day. See y'all next time.